G'day and welcome back to Torment Thursdays. It's been a little while. I've been traveling and the previous version of Torment was giving me grief. So we are gonna restart because we kind of have to with the new version. So that is what we're gonna do. You can see that there's this whole thing. They've redone the beta. They've added new backgrounds, new party members, new UI, actually added the merchants and trading, and revised the character systems. So it's definitely a thing that we're going to need to spend a little bit of time exploring. And yeah, we'll do that now. Let's start by starting again. We're going to go for kind of a different character this time. We're going to go for more of a thumpy type, I think. But we will see. They've made some mechanical changes.
Your mind wakes in darkness.
So
Aching
firstly,
cold sets into an unfamiliar body. A distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you.
So, firstly, I should note that this is got this new UI is immediately obvious. We got this new text box with
Is an involuntary
symbols that play along up here.
You feel you have forgotten something important, as if it once meant the world to you, but the details slip away as you grasp at them.
Okay.
You force your eyes open.
Alright, let's look at our body first.
The body is... wait, you are wearing a form-fitting suit of some dark material. You recall that you were wearing something much more elaborate a short time ago. You have smooth, light brown skin, 5 fingers on each hand, 5 toes on each foot. Good muscles, strong but not bulky, and slim hips. Your palms are soft, as if they have not done much labor, but scars and burns on the hands and wrists suggest that you haven't always been careful. Why can't you remember this? Without warning, the cocoon that surrounds you shreds and tears away. You are falling. Above you, a small moon is slowly collapsing in on itself. The world is many kilometers below you.
So at this point, it's basically try and fall down. Let's go for flatten out to catch the wind.
You spread your arms and legs, and they respond sluggishly. You stop tumbling head over heels. Though you are still spinning laterally, that motion has calmed as well, and you have space to assess your situation, and perhaps to understand the predicament and the body in which you find yourself.
I still really dig this intro that we see here. It's just...
Below you, you see a large landmass. A massive ocean dominates the rest of the visible globe.
Despite the fact that we have no real visuals.
Unusual structures and strange machines rush past you in glittering profusion as you plummet toward the ground.
We still get a really... this still paints a really vivid picture. Do we want to be introspective, or do we just want to look at what we're doing? Let's look at what we're doing.
Land of any size, on this side of the world at least. Great inland seas and lakes dot the land, and curiously, regular mountain ranges march up and down and across. You are falling toward what looks to be a great bay, a sprawling city perched on its shore just to the north.
And that's where we will spend most of this game.
Scattered with curious structures, visible even from this height. The northeastern portion of this land looks to be a desert, a strange blue dot like an eye in its exact center.
We're definitely going there.
It seems to hold a city in its watery grasp. To its west is a ring of huge mountains, surmounted by enormous carved peaks spewing magma into a central catch basin.
I wonder if we'll get to go there.
What concerns you most right now is the bay below you.
But
it's coming at you quickly.
This city was specifically mentioned in the Kickstarter. Let's
fruitless. You've reached a velocity that could, without irony, best be named terminal. You spread your arms and legs and try to catch a draft, and it looks like you'll hit the bay that's rushing toward you, unless you hit the building in its littered waters. A strange web of colors surrounds you, thrown by a figure standing on the balcony of the structure, but it is effective only at slowing your fall. You strike the building hard enough to crack its crystalline structure, and you hear one of the engines that supports it protest and howl, and the agony of the crash overcomes you. And then...
I really wonder if these symbols are meant to be linked to some of the dialogue or not. I don't know if it's just something else. Anyway, now we'll go into here, which is the absolute classic setup. In that this, all of what we've seen so far has been fixed right from the beginning. We can zoom out. I'm not sure if we can zoom out further than we used to. This is still the same. If we press I, we still get a little bit of a pause while it loads up the inventory and character sheet, but this is very different. This looks really different. These pools are much smaller. We've got this value, which is health, which is a significant change. They've actually reworked Numenera a fair bit, which I'm not entirely pleased by, but it's an interesting change nonetheless. So, Numenera used to be, much like the tabletop game, there was no hit points. But apparently that just makes it really hard for them to balance combat over the course of the game. Oh wait, I didn't want to do this. Ah, cool. I want to examine the bowl first. Let's read this out. Jumbled thoughts cloud your head as you study the empty bowl before you. Drops of liquid fall from the ceiling, spattering on the ground next to the bowl. The light from every drop is reflected in the bowl's rounded hollow, as if it hungers for that light and needs to be filled. Yet the bowl remains dry. Another drop falls from the ceiling and splashes the pylons, wasted. Let's examine the bowl. You trace your bowl over the slippery overlapping scales that spiral up from the bottom of the bowl. The sharp-toothed rim plucks at your skin. It's going to be tricky to move this bowl without slicing your fingers on the edge. You might have to put some effort into it. Reflected light streaks across the surface of the bowl as another droplet falls from the ceiling. So, we now actually have a bonus, because we got an asset, which is we thoroughly investigated the bowl, which gives us 15% extra chance, aka +3 on a d20, which is what this all models. So I think we'll just stick with that. We won't spend the might. And we failed, and we lost 1 hit point. The edges of the bowl tear at your flesh as you seize it. You grit through the pain, though, holding the bowl over the glowing pool of light. And now the light is red. So if you fail that check, you get red. Blood trails from your fingers into the hungry depths of the bowl. Drop by drop it fills, with your blood mixing with the light until the air itself takes on a strange reddish hue. Ripples spread over the blurred outline of your reflection. A sanguine radiance spills across the segmented floor, washing away the nearer shadows and pouring into your mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You're whole. You're not whole, not yet, but you've begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. Hello, you still alive down there? We're up here. Build a path up to us, and be careful. Okay, so I like how even like this really does look different. It's the same content though, it's just red. And I'm pretty sure that's only because I failed to check. Now here I'm going to start metagaming a bit. One of the things about Numenera is if you add health and just use stats for checks and activating abilities, then might is less useful. So why don't I go with speed? The air thickens with each step as you take towards this watering orb. The whispering voices flit across one of the countless aching gaps in your mind. This must be one of the memories you were told to find. 2 figures swim down through the orb. As though it's a fathomless ocean, one vanishes into the ebony depths before you can study it. The other, a female, seems to be struggling, or perhaps drowning? You realize that, like the swimmer, you cannot breathe. Let's rescue the swimmer. I'm gonna spend 1 point on this. Okay, success. Maximum pull increased. You plunge your hand into the orb and catch the tiny swimmer. Surprisingly strong muscles flex against your palm and the swimmer pulls you through to the breach. As she does, you feel faster. Something about this place causes even your smallest choices to shape who you are. As you plunge into the water, a memory floods your mind. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dank. You've had a moment's respite from this waterlogged hell, a bubble of stale air at your resting point. You've breathed water before, and you've lived decades beneath the waves, but this body's an air breather, and the constant pressure has been crushing you ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seems to be wandering from the task at hand. He's a genius with machines, as you well know, but now he seems distracted? The device in his hand is covered in knobs and wires and antennae. He believes it can get the two of you through the corroded door, but he's merely staring at it. Perhaps he's lost faith in his invention, but it's hardly your concern. This mission cannot be delayed. It must proceed. Let's go with this one. Threaten him until he turns to the task at hand. Your shouted words seem muffled in the stale air. Your companion flinches away from you. Sorry, just wanted to be sure I hadn't made a mistake. You make some minute adjustments to the knobs and blinking levers of the device, and the stale air of your bubble freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway beyond, a passage that links the waterboarded cells and the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you're underwater again, and your hands are closed around a strange artifact that seems somehow familiar. It hovers above a pedestal, writhing and spinning as if alive. An electric current runs through your fingers as your hands cross the vertical plane of the pedestal, and an iridescent field coalesces so fast that the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. The rising pulse of a sonar alarm ripples through the water. The guards won't be far behind. Let's go with disable the pulse. You focus on the cloudy base of the pedestal. Your fingers instinctively find the control panel for the jeweled force field, almost as if you built it in the first place. You remove it, casting it to the side, and you reach inside to deactivate the crystals that power both the pulse and the pedestal. As you remove them, a scaly hand falls on your shoulder. Your head whips around and you see only the inky blackness of a piscine eye. The memory begins to fade as if you're being drawn backward through a tunnel. You hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events in the orbs have settled into the gap in your mind, but the edges are rough, as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There's something else, a gust of sour air pulling at you, like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the end of a dark, whispering field. I like that visual. You actually see the orb go in and the glowing around you. I don't know if it was in there before, but it's a good visual. Okay, this orb, this memory, resembles an eye or masked face. It turns to face you with cold disdain. Mechanisms spin and mesh beneath the gleaming surface, and an ominous ticking begins, getting faster and faster. Two cold facts emerge from the mental gap this memory once occupied. The ticking does indeed mean the device will soon explode, and you've no one to blame but yourself. The trap is yours, built to protect the memory within. Gotta move fast. So we'll spend another point. Boom. Success. Carefully you reach through the misty surface of the orb, around blurring saw-toothed gears, and pluck out the heart of the device. Your body becomes more deft with the action. Suddenly the orb cracks at your touch, sending a memory jolting through your arm into your mind. You stand beside a woman on a verdant crag. Beneath the two of you is a broad plateau towering above the overgrowth below. Strange machines have been built into the cliffside, presumably for reconnaissance or defense. A metallic disc gleams from the center of the plateau. Your self-aware humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for a sanctuary, and you were, desperately, this seems like the right place. I don't know about this, Torment says, her voice flat, neutral. Her voice is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones we found? Um, let's go with draw her attention to the hidden details. Your more experienced eye can clearly see. You shade your eyes against the bright sun so that you can point out the thin bands radiating out from the metallic disc. How the energy of those bands affects the local fauna, suggesting an enormous source of prior world energy. She thinks deeply. Is it geologically sound? Have you run the sounding samples and checked the strata? No major caverns or weaknesses showed up in your resonance scans? She waits for your affirmation and says, "Alright, I'm convinced." The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and architectural diagrams. Then you descend onto the plateau to examine the open ground. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its task, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay your hand on its shoulder, it reinforces the command. It whirls and strikes you across the face with inhuman speed. It turns back to its task, ignoring you. Your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. It seems your construct has better ideas. What's the matter with it? Okay, let's just overwhelm it. Use the Numenera integrated into Construct's body to overwhelm the behavior malfunction. Very forceful approach. A mist falls onto the plateau as you activate the time-scaled artifacts fastened to the Construct's behavioral core with the sub-vocalized command. With an abrupt clack and a pulse of pleasant warmth, the devices purge the error, and the 7 copper-banded spheres drop out of evenly spaced rifts in the air. Ignoring this common side effect, you give new orders to the malfunctioning construct in a firm, clear voice. Acknowledged. It obediently trundles to the site of your new shelter. The image freezes, then fades, and you feel the memory filling the gap in your mind. Block by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head, reclaiming your memories hurts. And once more, there's something else. Hairs lift one by one on the back of your neck. Something beyond this room can sense what you're doing, and it's hunting you. And again, can't do anything with these doors. We clearly have to come back here in the future. Okay. Your fingers are twitching, your mind races. Each blink sends branching streams of white fire across the inside of your eyelids. You can't deny it. You feel stronger, sharper, more whole than when you landed here. Captive lights whirl mockingly beneath the thick surface of the orb before you, obscuring shadows, memories behind it. You'll need to claim them somehow if you have to be free of this place and find your companion. Crack the orb with our fists. Punch it in the face. Success. You batter the orb with your fists until cracks spread across the glass, growing and joining. Your strength grows as you do so. Light leaks through the cracks like blood, filling your eyes with the orb's radiance, and your mind with another memory. A vision of a city springs up around you. Your city, in flames and under attack. Her defenders have fought and died all day, and still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care nothing for mercy, surrender, or plunder. What they want is blood. But you have brought a keen-eyed companion to the top of the tower. She has seen a way to stop the defenders. You need to get her to safety, and you need to rally your defenders. But even as you turn toward the door of the tower, the two of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe. The other is slim, sheathed in a glassy armor and holding a hilt with a sizzling invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She's too young to help. Your enemies advance single file, confined by the parapet. So let's trade blows with the giant. We can handle it, at least for a strike or two. The giant's first two attacks are blurs. You block the first strike, but the second forces you to your knees. Though you're dazed and your vision is hazy, your armor holds and you keep your wits about you, enough that when he raises the great axe above his head to finish you, you're able to bury your blade under his breastplate. The blade emerges from the back of his neck, and his life's blood washes over your hands. He falls, taking your weapon with him, and his companion attacks. Her invisible blade is far more lethal than the giant's axe. You duck as she thrusts at you, and the wall behind you hisses, destroyed. Her turn swing cuts through your armor, ruining your breastplate. She doesn't have to be skilled with a weapon like this. She just has to make contact. You time your attack just as she pulls it back for another strike. You barrel into her, driving her over the wall, and she drops, screaming to the ground, 50 meters below. The immediate threat ended. You focus on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall, and you hear more of the enemy soldiers beyond. So let's hurl ourselves at the door and knock him to the ground. You charge through the dim shadows, dropping your shoulder into the door at the last minute. It bursts open. Halfway through its arc, it crashes into the pair of enemy soldiers, scattering them. You race through the door, blade in hand, and you dispatch your stunned foes before they have a chance to move. Their blood begins to pool in the hallway. Memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaimed memories blaze within you like a bonfire on a mountain peak, visible to every predator for kilometers around. A tremor rocks the floor beneath you, as though a massive fist has struck the room itself. Swaying on your feet, you see frantic movement within the borders of a mirror at the edge of the room. Here we go. A mirror. The border of this mirror is lavishly decorated with a dizzying number of interlocking symbols, daggers, masks, brushes, paintbrushes, amulets, and more. But that's nothing compared to what you see in the glass. You see a vast crowd of people, exact doppelgangers of you, shoving, arguing with, and fighting each other. Most are drab imitations of you, but a precious few are vivid and pull at your attention. Each of them bears an intricate pentagonal tattoo on their head. Kind of find it disappointing that even here, it still only shows one. It doesn't even vaguely show a crowd. It's a mirror here, but not in the text. In the text, it's not exactly a mirror, I guess. In their eyes, their actions, you see the memories you've discovered within the orbs, and the choices you've made, shining like bright stars. Your hand twitches at your side, and though some of the bright doppelgangers ignore you, an even smaller number immediately turn to you, waiting for you to choose them and learn what you might become. A rumble shakes the room, and a slow vibration spreads from the darkness below, rippling towards the ceiling. Okay, so basically I think each of those memories nets you a different one. So let's go with the strong doppelganger shoving its way through the group. It thunders towards you like a mountain on legs, scattering your duplicates everywhere. The threat in its eyes is as obvious as daylight. A rumble comes from deep somewhere within its chest as it waits for your decision. Yes, that is who I am. Gain descriptor, strong. The remaining doppelgangers scatter for the edges of the mirror and vanish. Your chosen identity steps forward, and its appearance changes as it steps out of the rippling glass. Its face reflects confidence and cleverness. Shadows of weapons flicker in and out of its hands, and few devices shimmer on its belt. You get the feeling you would be comfortable in a variety of situations. The word Jack sounds in your mind. Your doppelganger continues walking, stepping into you, filling you, making you whole. The decision rings out in the cavernous room, awakening and unlocking vast mechanisms behind the doors. Suddenly, a grotesque noise rings through your shared worlds, like if a bell could rot. Something is coming. Restore 1 might, 2 speed, took 1 damage to intellect. Why did it go to 0 then? The mirror fades, leaving a dark, open doorway. You take a deep breath and step through. Okay, so now it's asking us to choose for ourselves, just so we can actually adjust this, and we will, because I don't want to be a Jack in this. I'll probably do it for my own one. Okay, I want to see what flex skill is. But look, you can't. It's an intellect ability. If I recall from the tabletop game, the flex skill ability lets you basically temporarily pick up a different ability at an intellect cost, which is not what we want. So what we're going to do is we want to be a Jack. Not a jack. I already said I didn't want to be a jack. We want to be a glaive, which is the equivalent of a fighter. We get more might, we get more speed, we lose more intellect, and we can pick an edge, pick a starting weapon, and we get an ability at each tier, so we're, emphasizing that strong thing. So that's our type, and we get opportunist, which allows us to do opportunity attacks, and we can wear armor with less penalty, if anything. Okay, so here we can see that basically I cannot use any effort in intellect checks. I've got 2 points remaining, so I could put both of them into intellect, giving me the ability to do a small amount. Or I can just go whole hog here. And actually this is more useful than this. So that's what we're going to do. And we will just suffer when it comes to intellect. So the edge basically means that it reduces the costs, and we're going to go with speed on this edge. It reduces the activation cost, and it means that we can always use one ability. Does mean that there's some points where it's like maybe it'd be better to get an edge in a low pool, because then I don't use it as much, but speed I think is going to be our main pool. Interestingly enough, taunt is intellect, so we can't use taunt. Hook is might, which could be useful. This allows us to crit more, and this means that we will be hit less. Let's go with skill with defenses for now, as our ability. Okay, so we could take quick fingers, we could take smashing. We've got running as the default here, which increases our movement speed. So we had an inability at running, and I just accidentally bought that off. So if I were to say put it in quick fingers, then we have moved to, we will move more slowly, but that's it. The other option would be to put it in one of these two, but I think we'll go with quick fingers and kind of even things out. Next, weapon skill. So we get a couple of points to spend here, I think. No, we get one. So do we want ranged weapons, tactical weapons, which are medium weapons? I think we want tactical weapons. Small arms is not really what I want. Yeah, let's go tactical weapons. Now we get to pick our descriptor again. So given that we already have nothing in intellect, I think we've already got strong selected. Yeah, we do. So, no, we didn't, because that actually pushed us down to -2. I think that may be a visual bug. So if I were to pick, say, strong-willed, yeah, okay, I think that's a weird visual bug. So we'll go back to this one. This is what we want. It's what we've been building off. We could have gone for something like this, wrathful, which basically makes us faster, more intimidating, better at hitting things, but it doesn't give us the extra might. Swift is the opposite of strong-willed we don't want. What are other options? Mechanical means we're good with tech. Graceful means we're good with speed, but it's a different kind of speed. And all of these descriptors have downsides and upsides. Don't think there's any that avoid it. Yeah, I mean, this is the one with the least, like the most different upsides, but it's also, yeah, kind of weaker upsides compared to that is a fairly significant downside. But we're gonna go with strong. Stick with it. Okay, so I mean that's already quite different, because previously we had to go through a lot more to make those decisions. So next time round, we'll see what is beyond the mirror. Until then, have a great day. G'day and welcome back to Torment Thursdays. Last time around we made our character much earlier than previously. And now we're in a different area. It isn't the lab we had the last time we played this. Spectre. Everything about this spectral figure seems dreamlike. He's a hazy silhouette who seems to be made of blue glass smoke. He wears stylish, well-cut clothes. His handsome, bearded face seems hauntingly familiar, though you've never seen him before. He breathes a sigh of relief when he sees you. We weren't sure you were that'd work. We pulled our strength and channeled it through me to reach you, to rouse you, wake you up. He glances at the other figures and frowns unhappily. The effort took more out of them than we anticipated. They're only shadows now, not even reflections. Look, I'm betting you got a lot of questions. And you need to know that we're not exactly people. I'm a part of your mind, a splinter. These others, well, they're some of your memories. This whole place is built out from residue in your psyche. Your body out there in the real world, it's healing from that fall. Gotta get out there so you can finish the process. Heal all the way. It's gonna be a little bit more complicated than just waking up. And before I met you, it felt like someone was hunting me. Do you know what that was? That's a memory I don't want to recall. Large, black, furious, an infection, a cancer. It's our death. It's the sorrow. Hope it's lost interest when it'll annihilate us if it finds us. So it's a complicated process. What do I need to do to heal my body? First thing you gotta do is wake up from this dream state. Probably landed near the resonance chamber. Just climb in that. Attune to the tides. You'll be fine. What do you mean, attune to the tides? Tides are like a force, like gravity, or magnetism or something. Except they respond to people's actions, perceptions. Your body, that is, your real body, in the real world, it needs the tides to survive. What's a resonance chamber? I remember pieces about it, but not the whole. It's a glass sarcophagus in the real world. It's inside a crystal dome somewhere, with 5 mechanical arms and a metal ring set in the floor. I remember that we were aiming towards it when we fell. When you open your eyes in the real world, it should be pretty close. Who are these people? You called them shadows. That's what they are. As I said, it's your mind. You'll find reflections of people you knew, people you met in the real world, with whom you shared some kind of psychic connection. I don't know how or why. It just happens. If this place is my mind, why don't I remember any of this, any of you? It's your mind, a construct built to, I don't know, share thoughts, store your true self. Wait, you know how people say in the first place, this is definitely the first place of your memory. Or at least, it was the first place for me? Anyway, you'll probably know better since it's yours. If you don't remember now, maybe it'll come to you later. Who are you? He pauses, looks down at himself, considering a long time before answering. I'm you, part of your mind, a splinter. I was waiting here for you. We called you with the memories of the others who are here. I don't know what happened next. How do you know all this? Everything you're telling me. He throws his hands up in frustration. I'm just a part of you. I look at you and I know. This place was made for you, for us. And I remember pieces of that knowledge that come to me when you ask questions. That's all. So what's the plan? What do I gotta do? There's a tidal portal down there. It'll take you back to your body. Just step through it. The rest of the process should take care of itself. Once you wake up in that real world, find the resonance chamber, activate it, and we can... What in the hell is that? Well, that seems great. Great. This is really different. The sorrow is anchored to those reflections. It's devouring the power. We've got to get rid of them, to kill him. Destroy its anchors so the sorrow will raise us forever. Step 1. Biffo. What? It's escaping. It's gonna hide in your mind. That's not what you want to hear. Now run, get to the next one. So this is definitely quite different. I guess they wanted to reduce the length of the start of the game, because it took like an hour and a half to finish the tutorial last time. And this is definitely much more engaging and just much less time consuming. Oh, right. We're in combat, so the affinity and everything works slightly differently. And that's the new interface there. Let's biff them. Can't believe you pried the Sora loose. Well, any luck, that'll give us the space we need to get to the resonance chamber. Quest received. Stop the Sora. So now we'll head through, and next time we will continue. And I guess we'll skip the whole sequence with the title chambers that used to be in character creation, in favor of getting on with it. So I'll do that. But for the purpose of the stream, I'm actually stopping now because I got to cook dinner. So, see you. Ah, fuck. Looks like the start recording thing didn't work, so gonna have to recover that from the stream. Oh well. Hopefully